Welcome GRD131, Graphic Design 1, and I just wanted to go over kind of the results for the ex5, where we're looking at type-based logos and trying to pick out design principles and also identify the fonts. Now, everybody did really well at this, and I just wanted to go over it and just confirm things in case there were some areas where you didn't have something, or maybe you had all of them and you weren't sure. So I just wanted to go over these real quick. We have the Moravian College one right here, and this person has repetition, which is repetition, what's being repeated, the font. The same font in both places, even though the tracking spread out a little bit down here. And the purpose of doing that is to create alignment, so they're aligned at the same side, because otherwise you'd have to make this bigger or you'd have to do something different. But by spreading out the tracking, it's aligning them on both sides. There's also proximity, meaning you're moving the college line very close to Moravian, so that's getting real close, so they work kind of as one unit. And again, with alignment, they're working like two blocks on top of each other and also like one block, so it's one nice clean rectangular block there is what's working. The only thing that's not really being used is contrast in that one, and that's a Garamond font that's being used there. Over onto this one, the Pinos. Now you should have contrast because it's the first thing you notice. There's a lot of big contrast between this big Crimson Pro font here and semi-bold. It almost has a slabby look to it here, and the smaller font, which has been thrown in here in this little gap, this little nook here in between. And what's unusual about this is the S is made bigger to create balance. This would be create balance on the either side. It also makes it align too, because now it's perfectly center aligned. And also proximity. They mentioned proximity here, and that could be proximity because you're fitting this in that little nook, so you're using up that space there. So that becomes a part of it. It becomes like a cog in the machine here of the Pinos logo, so that's a part of it being used in that space, so they're all good. And moving on to Railway. Now this has all of them, and in some cases you could just throw all of them in there, but with the Railway there's definitely contrast because we have the big R and the small r. We have repetition because we have the same font being used in the R and the same font being used here. They're all using archival black. There's alignment because it's center aligned. There's also contrast. I think I mentioned contrast because of the big gray circle and this down here, and also gray and black. There's a little contrast there between the two different tones. And there could be some alignment based on being centered, but there's also alignment in here. If you notice, the R comes down on top of that. The R follows this line on the W a little bit. That was not unintentional, so it's kind of following some lines there, which helps just a little bit, a little subtlety going on there. And is it balanced? Well, yeah, you could say it's balanced because it has nice support here. It has this kind of like a sunset looking shape here, and this is kind of the ocean. So you have kind of what's off in the horizon, and then you have the horizon line. So it gives you something stable for this to sit on. Instead of just floating in air, it's sitting on this. So they kind of go together, and it's wider than the top. Anything that's kind of wider at the bottom, thinner at the top is a little more stable. So you'd have balance there. So that's good. This one using the Volkhorn font. The only one, I don't know if I'd see balance here. It could be, you could always kind of look at balance because you have large gray and then you have kind of smaller black. That would be contrast, first of all, because you have kind of the big WC in the back and the smaller one in the front. This is black, that's gray, so you have contrast between those two things. You definitely have alignment because they're aligned horizontally and they're aligned vertically. So they have a lot of alignment going on. And repetition, they're using the same font. It's kind of hard to see, but it's using a bold version of the Volkhorn, and it's using that's the heavy version, and it's using the bold version here. So the only one is balance. I don't know if I necessarily say balance for that one, but you could make an argument for balance. Moving over to the Pinnacle one, there's definitely contrast, and some people left out contrast to this one, but it's using the same font, this Catamaran, and it's using the bold version or the extra bold version here and the extra light version there. So that creates a lot of high contrast between Pinnacle and Financial Group. And there's definitely alignment. They don't have alignment here, so I drag alignment into here because they're aligned left, but they're not necessarily aligned right. There's even proximity. There could be, because this is really pushed up really close to that. They're really nudged together. Whenever you see kind of the positioning is very important. The positioning of that is very important. It's nudged there. So you could say proximity. And how about balance? I was questioning balance, but I guess there is balance. Now you might say, well, where's their balance? Well, you have something heavy here and something light there. Yes, it is contrast, but it also balances off the fact that this is longer and that's shorter. because what this lacks, this kind of gain. So it balances off a little bit. You also have more of a stable base that this sits on. Now, just to give you an idea, if it was unbalanced, maybe if this thing was kind of like that, and I'll just move that down, that would be something, well, I'll just leave it there. That's something it's lacking some proximity there, and it's also off balance because, you kind of have this extra gap here where it could kind of fall over. If you look at these as physical elements, it's kind of off balance. If you make something too small in the bottom, even if I make it even smaller, you can see it gets off balance and you feel like there's some tension there, like that could kind of fall over. But by making this bigger, it creates a better base for it. So I guess I could say balance there. I'll put it back as close as I had it. And I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was definitely wider than that one. So there's a little proximity and definitely balance there, I guess. I didn't think so initially, but definitely contrast between the heavy and the light version. Oh, and repetition, because it is the same font. It's using Catamaran. It's in the same family. So I always consider that repetition using the same family of fonts, just like up here. They're using the same family of fonts. They're using the same family of fonts. Now, over on this one, the Giovanni, they're using different fonts, and it's using this kind of modern-looking font here, this Raja 1. And you have balance because it's kind of flipping it around and making it very symmetrical with the two G's kind of facing each other, almost creating some kind of shape. And there's also balance because they're sitting on something down here. There's definitely contrast because this is very bold and big, and this is kind of thinner and lighter down at the bottom. Alignment, it's very aligned. They're all kind of aligned center and pretty much take up one kind of basic shape here. Proximity, they make kind of one unit. So they kind of get all of them here. But I guess balance would probably be the G's flipping on either side, but definitely contrast, definitely repetition. Where's repetition? Well, the two G's, they're repeating a G. So if you're repeating something, you could just have one G sitting on there. I mean, this logo could easily just be that. That could be the logo, and you wouldn't necessarily have repetition. Actually, I like that. But this adds repetition to it in that logo. So those are just some things I just wanted to go over real quickly in case you did it and you found yourself just throwing things on there. A lot of them are being used here, and that was the intent, but the idea was for you to kind of pick them out and also identify why. Now, in class, we always talk about why, so that's why I'm kind of going over the whys right here of why it's repetition, why it's alignment, and so on. So hopefully that helps a little bit for that ex5 that you had worked on with the font logos.